everyone. I welcome us all to today's global seminar. Actually, it's the first global seminar we are having. It's been such a wonderful experience for me so far, and I am glad to be part of this beautiful and warm community. I am so happy to see the people joining. I can see some have turned on their videos, so that is good. So please turn on your videos as far as possible so that we also enhance the interaction we will have with our speakers today. So thank you all for joining in. I will introduce my name. My name is Stacy Ombati Nyarangi. I am one of the campus directors at Strathmore University, currently co-directing with Makena Muriuki. And yeah, I live in Kenya. It's a pleasure to meet each one of you and to see your faces. So today I will be serving you as your moderator for the seminar, and I'm really happy and excited to be able to interact with all of you. So before we start, I would like us to do a small activity, okay? And this is what I'd like us to do, all right? So I know we all have different feelings right now concerning this seminar. Personally, I'm feeling curious. Why? Because I can't wait to hear what the panelists have in store for us. I can't wait to interact with you people. So in the chat box, I'd like you to write a word, just one word, okay? One word that describes your feeling about today's seminar, all right? So just write one word, but before you do that, I'd like you to introduce yourself. So write your name, okay? Write the university you're from, and write the state in which you live, all right? So name, university, and the state. Then thereafter, you can talk about your feeling, all right? So I've started us off by talking about how I'm feeling. I'm feeling curious, I'm feeling excited. I'm actually having a mixture of emotions right now. And I'd like to see what you have to say. All right. Okay, I'm seeing Jerry, I'm seeing Erica. Eric is feeling happy. I am seeing, the texts are going so fast. I'm seeing Prathana. I hope I did your name justice. Prathana, I'm sure you're feeling very excited as well. Neha, Sheila, University of Delhi, and your word is incredible, okay? Mburunjeri is from University of Nairobi. Nikita from University of Delhi. Let me see what we have here. Please keep the texts coming. As I said at the start, we are writing our names. So write your name, the university you're from, and also the state in which you live. Then right after all that, I want you to write one feeling, one adjective that describes your emotion, okay? I am seeing Anthony is feeling excited. Thank you, Anthony. I am seeing Olabi from Federal University, that is in Nigeria. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate. Salwa is feeling so excited for this. Thank you, Salwa. Let me see. Chisombe. Okay, I missed that one. But thank you so much, guys, for sharing your feelings, expectations about today's seminar. All right, let me just read a few more texts before we delve into today's program. I am seeing Dahal. Dahal is from Agriculture and Forestry University from Nepal. Dahal, please tell me how you're feeling. Just text in the chat box. Okay. I am seeing Kadi Sudet is feeling excited in capital letters. Thank you so much. And lastly, let me see. Lastly, I am seeing Camila Solis. She says she feels grateful. So thank you very much for all your contributions. I really, really appreciate. All right, as we all know, today's seminar is dubbed Owning Your Networking Skills, okay? And So I will go ahead and introduce myself again for those who have just joined. My name is Stacey Nyarangi Ombati. I am a campus director together with Makena Muriuki from Strathmore University in Kenya. And today I'll be serving you as your moderator. So I hope you all are feeling the excitement I have at the moment. All right, next on I will introduce our panelists. Yeah, I will just do it briefly, okay? And I hope the panelists are here with us today. So they will have a moment to greet all of us, and they will also tell us how they're feeling, okay? So I will start with Raphael Obonyo. Mr. Raphael Obonyo is a public policy analyst, and he is Kenyan, all right? So he served in different capacities, and currently he is working in the Global Diplomatic Forum together with the World Bank's Global Coordination Board on Youth and Anti-Corruption. So that's what he's doing at the moment, and he also has community initiatives. Mr. Andrew Isan. So Mr. Andrew Isan is the executive director of SIGA Group, okay? And this is a group that employs 1,900 people from the Southern Africa. So he's received various awards for his leadership, one of them being the Mandela Rhodes Scholar Awards, which is a great thing. I don't know if anyone of us have heard of it, but that's what he has done so far. He's done so many other things, so many other great things, such as working in organizations that are involved in conflict resolutions in African countries. Trust me, I have said very little. Yeah, these people have done great things, and I cannot exhaust all of them. So, Mr. Andrew, kindly unmute yourself and greet us.
Stacey, thank you very much for the very kind introduction. I'm from South Africa. I think the word that describes how I'm feeling is privileged. I feel privileged to be sharing this day with you. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Andrew. And lastly, we have Rachel Gerrol. So Ms. Rachel is the CEO and co-founder of Nexus, all right? Nexus is a large community, and hopefully she will tell us more about it as we start the session. So she has co-founded, she is one of the co-founders of Impactors, which was a social impact film series. And she's also a founding executive director of Public Foundation, where she organized the Media for Social Impact Summit at the United Nations. So she's done many other great things, and for now I'd like her to unmute herself so that we hear her voice. Miss Rachel, are you here?
Yes, welcome everyone. It's an honor to be with you. I'm so excited, that was my word, and joyous because we have so many people, over 360. There's more people here today than there are days of the year. So networking is a top interest for all of you. And I want to thank MCN and the UN Academic Impact for launching the Millennium Fellowship. You fellows are really leading the way with empathy and humility and inclusion, and that's what it's going to take to make these SDGs real. So thank you all.
Thank you very much. I must say that each one of us is eager to hear what you have to say to us, because I'm sure it'll have a positive impact on not only our Millennium experience, but also our career paths later on in life. So thank you so much for making time for this. My heart goes out to all of you, and I hope we'll all learn together, yeah, and hopefully live better lives. So thank you very much, Miss Rachel, Mr. Andrew. Is Mr. Raphael here at the moment? All right, as he logs in, I will first of all start by taking you through today's agenda. So what's happening is this session has been split into two, okay? The first session, sorry, the first part will be about the interaction that I will have with the panelists, and we've called it the moderator conversation. So I will engage them using a set of questions, and we'll be able to learn more about them as we go by. So the first part is the moderator conversations, and the second part is the Q&A sessions. So guys, please feel free to type in your questions in the chat box, and I will definitely, the panelists will definitely address them. I will bring them up. Please do not be shy, okay? Ask whichever questions relating to the topic that you have. Remember, they'll take you a long way in your career path. So please do ask as many questions as you can. Yes, and without further ado, I now open the floor to Sam Vaga, who will speak to us.
So, hi everyone. I am Sam Vega, or he, him, his. It is such a pleasure to be with you, and to echo what Rachel said, more of you than days in the year. It's really beautiful just to see all your faces from around the world, sharing community together in this important time. We know that this is a topic that's front of mind for so many of you, and really that relationships are at the heart of networking. And so for me, with Andrew and Rachel and Raphael, these are three extraordinary leaders in my life, role models and mentors and friends and people I learn from, who I think are the best in the world at building authentic relationships. So that's why when I thought about this panel, these were the three people I said, we've got to try and get them to join us. And they've been so generous with their time because they're all really busy people. But I'd encourage you to ask questions in the chat box throughout. We'll try and get to as many as we can. I'll ask the panelists to keep your comments brief just so we can try and answer everyone's questions if possible. But I just wanted to come on and say thank you to the three of you for, one, your leadership for the Sustainable Development Goals for our planet, and two, for making time for Millennium Fellows and being with us today. And thank you everyone for tuning in, and we hope that this is really helpful on your journeys. All right, back to you, Stacey. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Sam. I have received word that Mr. Raphael has joined us. So, Mr. Raphael, I have done the introductions already, and I would like you to kindly unmute yourself and greet all the fellows in the meeting. Then state an adjective that describes your feeling or emotions towards this seminar today.
Thank you so much, Sam, for putting this together, and thanks, Stacey, for being our moderator for today. Sorry, I got caught up in another engagement, but quite excited to be here. I think I would say I'm fascinated, I'm excited. I would say so many wonderful adjectives. I think for me, it's a very exciting platform and engagement. And I think I should say this, you don't know how much I've always wanted to engage with with you guys. So this is a dream come true for me also, you know, as much as you say, you're learning from us. I think for me, it's also a great moment and a dream come true. So I'm looking forward to the conversations and discussions. I see it as more of a cross-pollination other than just bombarding you guys with all the ideas that we have. So feel free to engage. Feel free to share your thoughts, and I think iron sharpens iron, so we should sharpen each other and make our ideas better. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Raphael. And I think that should be our mantra today. Iron sharpens iron. Thank you so much for joining us today. And now I will delve into the subject matter today, all right? And Mr. Obonyo, would you like to go first? Okay, you're unmuted. Sorry, you're muted. So I will just pose the question, then feel free to unmute, okay? Mr. Raphael, I read your moving story about the journey you've had since childhood and to where you are today. Yeah, it was moving, and I felt inspired because You've done so much within such a short span of time, and your determination is out of this world, all right? And I understand that even in the capacities that you're serving, they are quite large, and you have a huge responsibilities on many forums. So one of them being the Global Diplomatic Forum, and one of the initiatives that you started in Kenya, which involves the youth, is the Youth Congress of Kenya. I know you also have the Obonyo Foundation. I saw your posts on Instagram, and I know that you also started the Kenya Youth Media. Yes, so you've done all this, and even you've been able to interact with global leaders, presidents, and so many other great people in the world. So my question for you is, how did you establish yourself at a very young age to have a seat at the table alongside great people, you know, like global leaders and presidents?
Thank you so much, Stacy. And I didn't know someone was talking me. No, but I really appreciate. So, I mean, straight to the question, how did I establish myself, or rather find a seat at the table? I think no one gives you a seat at the table, really. I think we really need to fight to get a seat at the table. You know that thing they say, if there's no seat for you at the table, come with your folded, chair, come with whatever you can to have a seat at the table. So I think for me, I always knew that there are three spaces for participation. There is the invited space, there is the claimed space, but there is the closed space. And it is in the closed space where decisions are made. And we need to be in that closed space. So how do you prepare yourself to be at that closed space? How do you make sure you have what it takes so that when you get a seat at the table, you have something to say or to offer? People will truly appreciate that this seat has an occupant who is adding value. And so, one, I knew that having a seat at the table, being in that closed space is extremely important. Two, you don't just want a seat at the table. You need to prepare yourself with whatever is required to be valuable when you have a seat at the table. And three is just that, you need to find a path to have a seat at the table, strategically. And one of the key ways is to network, because networking helps you to create value, helps you to gain value, but also helps you to share value. When you interact with people, whether they're your peers or they're people who are greater than you, there's something you get from them. They will help you to be more visible. They'll help you to identify opportunities. They will help you to identify, to develop certain skills, to assess your qualifications. And that way, they help you to propel yourself to wherever you want to be. So I would say there are many other things, but because today we are discussing networking, I think networking has really, really been key for me in terms of helping me to get a seat at the table, and of course to run and manage some of these initiatives that we've co-founded. Because no man is an island. I can't say these are things I did because I'm outstanding, not at all. I think it's because of when you meet someone, they tell you what they're doing and you share with them what you're doing, and they say, if you add this here, or I know someone who could add value to what you're doing, and that has really propelled me, or rather helped me to make the progress and steps that I've been making.
Yes, thank you. So what I'm hearing from you is these opportunities weren't presented on a silver platter. You had to go out for them and to prepare yourself for that seat at the table. Thank you so much. Last question for you is, so what do you do to make the most of these opportunities and also to maintain the relationships that you build?
I think one is prepare yourself. I mean, opportunities are there. It's not that opportunities are not there, but you need to prepare yourself to be able to capture this opportunity. That is one. Two, I think you need to prepare yourself to maximize these opportunities, because like I said, having a seat at the table is one thing. Utilizing that seat when you get there is totally a different ballgame. Look at the question of youth leadership. Across the world, leaders are becoming younger and younger and younger. We now have in Finland, we have a prime minister who is 35 years old. Emmanuel Macron was elected when he was under 40. We have in Ukraine, we have a president who didn't even campaign, actually. He was using, YouTube, for example. So we have leaders, very young leaders. And so the question is not about your age. I think the question is also about the value that you offer, the vision that you have. So I think we need to prepare ourselves to utilize these opportunities. In terms of how to make sure that you remain relevant or you make progress, I think networking helps you to establish relationships. And just like any other relationship, you must respect those relationships. For example, if you meet, and I have had the privilege of being in spaces where perhaps you meet presidents, you meet prime ministers, you meet captains of industries, when they give you access is something very, very important. Don't abuse it. For example, if now they give you their card, it does not necessarily mean that you can call them anytime or send them any email or invite them to any other space. So I think you need to respect access and utilize that access in a way that it promotes the relationship. So don't abuse it. When they give you a seat at the table, go have a seat at the table, but also demonstrate your worth, so that they do not regret that we gave this person a seat at the table. But look at him. He's supposed to be in the meeting at this time. He's not here at this time. He's supposed to make a presentation. He is not ready to make a presentation. So show the worth, show the value of connecting with them or having a seat at the table. So I think for me is respecting access, demonstrating your worth, and most importantly for me is about cross-pollination. Making sure that people don't see you as someone who just needs something from them. It is about also you are offering something. So it's not just about you asking and taking. It's also about you saying, no, I might not be a captain of an industry. I might not be a president or a prime minister, but this is what I'm also doing. This is what I'm offering. People will connect with you that way, other than if you are showing people that they're up there and you're down there, and all you need is for them to come down to you. So try and make sure that in a space if you connect with people, show them also something that you can provide and you can offer. So I think for me,
Brilliant.
That is important.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. Guys, I will not say too much after each of them have spoken, because I don't want to dilute what they've said. But the 3 key points I've gathered is respect the access, prove your worth, and cross-pollinate, meaning don't only receive, but also give, all right? Thank you so much, Mr. Raphael. I highly appreciate. Moving on to Mr. Andrew. Okay, so as we mentioned earlier, he is the executive director of the SIGA group, okay? And of course, he will tell us more about it. And he's received a number of accolades, from Mandela Rhodes to a Gates Foundation goalkeeper, and so much more, right? So the question I'm posing to you, Mr. Andrew, is how do you position yourself and your work to be accepted in these communities? How do you position yourself and your work to be accepted in these communities?
Thanks, Stacey. I think a key part for me is the substance of your work matters more than your ability to make a good connection. And I think that's always been sort of my yardstick. It's about your commitment to the work and the substance by which you bring, and that passion and that commitment. Because I think, listening and being part of this conversation reminds me that, as a generation, we have made, Millennium Fellows here have made a choice to say, this is our mission. The Sustainable Development Goals is our mission, and we are working towards it, and we will do everything to achieve it. And I think, the passion of young people across the world demonstrates that ability. And so, I've similarly met amazing people, from heads of states to heads of industry to civic leaders who toil every day trying to make the world better. And for me, it's always been, some of my most memorable interactions, and I can use one example. I met Sam probably about 6 years ago. in Washington, D.C., on the sidelines of having just met the then President Obama. And that trip, for me, one of my most striking interactions was with Sam. Having just met both at the time, the First Lady of the United States and the President, my interaction in a meaningful way was with young people, with people of my generation. And I think that's always been, the work in itself speaks for itself. And I think, the people on this call and within the broader fellowship network, the Millennium Fellowship Network and MCN, it's about that commitment. Because when you are committed in the meaningful work that we are busy doing, the achievements come, the recognition comes. And, Raphael was talking about how you bring a chair sometimes to the table so that you can participate. But I think importantly, we have the ability to collaborate. We can build our own annexure to that room. We can build our own room. And I think that's the power we need to begin to acknowledge. And I think that's the beauty of these type of engagements, because the accolades on paper are one thing, but are you meaningfully impacting the world? And if you are, the recognition comes in all of its shapes. And I think what you'll find is the work, even though you've been recognized and you've had amazing interactions with powerful, important people, the work always matters more. And I think that for me is what's driven me and has kept me going.
So commitment first, then success will ensue. Don't look for success first. You have to be committed and passionate about your work. Last question for you is, what specific advice do you have to network and fully engage in the communities you're part of, right? So what advice do you have for us relating to the networking?
Sure. Thanks, Stacey. I think a key part of it is, networking is built on relationships, right? And if we think of ourselves as young children, we built relationships. We networked with people. It may have been around the homes where we lived, along the streets that we worked, and lived in. It might have been at the school. So we've been building networks throughout our lives, and we will continue, to our last breath to build networks. But I think, as a reminder, the networks that we are building, and you, particularly Millennium Fellows, are building, are networks of meaning. You are confronted with the issue, and as all of us, we are confronted with a global issue. I mean, I think COVID-19 has highlighted the type of connectivity we require, the degree of integrity, humanity, commitment, and compassion, and collaboration. And I think in terms of the networks that we are going to be building going forward, it's about pulling your brother, your sister along with you. It's about supporting causes that extend beyond your own organization, your own city, your own country. And I think it's about that interest and commitment to working together. And I think for me, that is the true test of our generation. If we're able to do that, the issues we confront, the leaders that we confront that should not be in the positions they're in, that's the work we need to invest in, because in this call today, we have 422 amazing people, but we have millions of young people across the world who we can impact in different ways, whether we're impacting them via social media, in our communities, through our projects. And I think that's the commitment. We should say to ourselves, anything is possible, because it is. Anything is possible. I was a young kid growing up in the dying days of apartheid, and the life I've led, having crisscrossed the globe, having achieved all these things and having had impact in the world, as a young kid growing up in, very dire socioeconomic circumstances, in the dying days of a very degrading system called apartheid, I could not have imagined the life I've led, nor could my family. And I think it just highlights the possibility in each of us to change the world in a meaningful way. And I think that's the commitment and the networks we should be building.
Thank you so much for those powerful words. And I hope all of us are inspired to keep working on our projects, because it is not in vain. You are serving humanity in whichever capacity, and keep up. Yeah. So Millennium Fellows, I hope you're here and I hope we're together. Okay. So thank you so much, Mr. Andrew. Lastly, I want to move on to Miss Rachel Gerrol. You are the CEO and co-founder of Nexus, all right? So I'd like you to break down for us what Nexus is about, okay? And after you do that, the first question I pose to you is, we all know that you're curating one of the most impactful networks in the world, that is Nexus. And how do you help Nexus community members network and build such relationships? How do you help your members network and build robust relationships?
Thank you. So Nexus is a community of 6,000 young people from over 70 countries. It is made up of 2/3 of members who are under 40, who are from the most influential families in their country. So children of prime ministers and presidents, of billionaires, of philanthropists, of heads of private sector companies. And then 1/3 of our community is social entrepreneurs looking to make change who don't necessarily have the access and the advantage that the other members have. We believe in bringing these two communities together, the communities of wealth and influence and the communities of young entrepreneurs together. That's where real social change will happen. And people often say to me, Rachel, how is it that you got to have Nexus summits at the White House and the United Nations and at number 10 Downing Street and with the Prime Minister of Lebanon and the Prime Minister of the Netherlands and Australia? And they think, how could we do this as young people? But the answer is we offered them something that they didn't have. And so we would call the White House or the UN and say, would you like to know what the next generation of great entrepreneurs, investors, and philanthropists are thinking about and care about today? Because we can give you those answers, which I don't think you have without us. And in every single case, every head of state said, yes, come in, let's brainstorm together. Let's have conversations about what the next generation cares about and how us as a government, how we can work together to forward those goals, whether it's around climate change or gender equality. Everyone in the world is listening to what millennials care about and are how they're putting their words into action, truly. And the next generation above us is trying to figure out how to do that and how to capture our imagination and our attention. But the way to do it is to listen to young people. So that's how we've been able to scale Nexus to over 40 summits around the world, from the Middle East to Latin America to Asia. Everywhere we host summits. But the truth is, if you have a community of great wealth and a community of entrepreneurs, the first instinct would be to ask for money or ask for access or say, how can you connect me to someone in your family or in the government or at your company? But we took all of that energy out of the room. So at the beginning of every Nexus summit anywhere in the world, from the Middle East to Latin America to Asia to Europe to Africa and so on, we begin with one simple statement. At Nexus, we don't have an affiliation on your name tag. It doesn't say you work for the UN or Google or whatever. It just says your name. And the central two questions at Nexus is these. What is your passion and how can I help? And so immediately you're thrown into a non-transactional, non-networking traditional mindset, but into a heart-centered empathy mindset of what is your passion? And someone may say human trafficking or the slums in Kibera or, childhood education or maternal access to health. You have no idea. And then you say, well, I don't know about that. How can I help? And they say, well, we're looking for people in America who might be able to share our stories. We have a new documentary. Or I'm coming to London. I'd love a place to stay if you have a couch. It becomes so very easy. When someone says, how can I help? You think of a way. You say, well, you're a successful entrepreneur. Is there a book that guided you that I could write down the name of? Or could we be in touch as I work on my marketing proposals? We say you can ask for anything in Nexus except for money. And because we take money out of it, the creativity of all the things you can ask for becomes abundant. And that mindset of abundance is what makes the community so strong and makes people 10 years later still proud to be Nexus members and still connecting. Someone will fly to Australia and they'll write in the Nexus groups that we have, I'm coming to Australia, I'd love to meet people. And someone will say, I'll work out with you. I'll give you a place to sleep tonight. Who are you looking to meet? What introductions are helpful to you? Because that spirit of how can I help and what is your passion? And we trust that whatever your passion is, you're working your hardest at it. So we want to help amplify your work. And that's the spirit we like to infuse in everyone.
Thank you. Thank you so much. In that same spirit, even as you were talking, I could see how passionate you are about your work. So that's something I'm already admiring about you. Yes, and two take-homes for me would be, what is your passion and how can I help, right? So even as our panelists talk about their passions and what they do, I'd like us to really reflect on the decision we've made to be part of this community and try and brainstorm of ways of, helping the community during this season, all right? So thank you so much, Mitchell. The last question before I open the floor to the Q&A session is, are there any specific tools and tactics to catalyze networking and relationship building that Millennium Fellows might apply in their communities? Are there any tools you'd like to tell us about which will help us in networking?
Yes, and when you come with an ask, your response rate is going to be incredibly low. Whether you come with an ask to LinkedIn or to a community group on Facebook or WhatsApp, anything, if you say, I'm looking for a connection to this, or let's connect if you're also interested in climate, you're going to get a very low response. But if you write with an offer, you will get a very high response. So if you write and you say, have you lost your job? Have we connected before? And you'd like a connection in my country to someone anywhere, please contact me. I'm here to help in any way I can. Please look at my LinkedIn connections and see if there's someone you'd like to know. I'm happy to make an introduction. I have no promises that they'll respond, but I'm offering myself as a tool for you in your journey towards making social impact. Everyone will respond because you're demonstrating that generosity of spirit. And so I challenge everyone to rethink the way that they position themselves, even here in the Zoom chat, in any group you're in. Instead of saying, here's my interest, connect with me. I think if you say, I'm here from Kenya, is there anyone in Kenya who you think might be able to help you in your work? I'm happy if I know them to make an introduction. People will instantly want to connect with you. So lead with your offer, even if it's not something you can follow through with, just the sincerity of the intention will be incredibly helpful.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much for those words. This is profound. Thank you so much to the panelists for. Okay, there's a question from Tejashwini Prasha. I hope all of you can hear me. There's a question from Tejashwini Prasha here, and if she can hear me, she or he can hear me, please unmute yourself and ask the question. Okay. Tejashwini Prasha, are you here with us?
Hello there.
Hi.
Hi. My question was linked to the best way to package yourself when you're networking, because I think it's really important to put yourself out there in the most concise way possible while telling a very compelling personal narrative, because I think, like you said, that connects with people's spirits. So do you have any kind of general advice or any kind of valuable tips that would help us and guide us to do that more effectively?
Well, I'll start by jumping in if no one else does. I think that people would love to know why you care about the work you're doing. I think the why is what captures imagination and interest more or before the what. So I'm interested in helping rural villages. That's incredible. But for someone to say, my name is X, I was born in Y, my grandparents Z, and now I'm using my personal experience and theirs to make a change on A, B, C, D, E. So I think there's something people want to know, you and your why. Or you can say, I went on a trip and unexpectedly met a child and learned this statistic that 1 in 6 children X, YZ, and now I'm committing my life to ABC. So I think that 1 or 2 sentences, very short, of why, because you can't ask or expect someone else to care unless they know why you do. And that tells who you are as well.
Thank you so much. That answers a lot.
Thank you so much, Ms. Rachel. Is there something that the other panelists would like to add?
I would want to just add a few. That's a fantastic question. I think one is just be authentic, be original. People try to create something else out of who they are not. So try to be authentic. People want to connect with you, you know, not someone else. So I see people mimicking and struggling a lot, but I think being authentic is very, very important. Two, I think, and someone asked skills. Networking is an art. You need to learn. There are certain skills, for example, communication skills. So one of the things is communicate using as few words as possible, especially if you're depending on levels of networking, but if you're networking with a captain of an industry, if you're talking to a president, and Andrew was saying he's been to the White House, a president won't give you more than 5 minutes to explain your point. He has so many other things waiting for him. So within 5 minutes, can you make your point without, you know, giving a lot of background and getting to the point? So being brief, I think for me, I mean, communicating is very, very important. So I would say be authentic, but also communicate in an
articulate manner, I believe. All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Raphael.
Sure. Stacey, if I may, I think the other thing is when you are networking and connecting, don't see it as a transaction. So don't think that you need to get everything off your chest right now and you need to get a commitment today. I think you, especially when you in, you know, these large networking events where there's 500, 1,000 people, I think as, you know, as our previous speakers have said, you really need to connect, and the why is important. Your authenticity is important, but don't see it as a transaction. Don't see it as I need to close the deal right now, but rather, you know, you might meet people that aren't great for your network today, but in your broader network, like in this particular network, the Millennium Fellowship, you might have a connection that you can introduce one of your friends, one of your fellows to. And I think that's what you should look for as well. So not just think about yourself, but the bigger picture. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Andrew. I'd like us to move on to the next question, but thank you so much for your contributions. Next question is by Yashita Gupta. Yashita, are you here with us? If you can hear me, please unmute yourself. Right. And I'd like Mr. Raphael to please answer the question. Yeah, we're trying to cover as many questions as possible. Therefore, please, Mr. Raphael, answer Yashita's question.
Hi, a very good evening to everybody. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay. So I had a question that how do we connect with people even when there are so many projects of similar kind around? And how do we make sure that our genuine reason for doing a certain project is conveyed in our on a page maybe, or the way we are putting it forward? So there are two questions. First is that how do we put forward our idea in a unique manner when there is so much of a similar kind of projects in the field? Secondly is how do we convey our genuine reason to start and initiate a project? That's from my side. Thank you.
Thank you. I think Mr. Raphael dropped off. So Mr. Andrew, question, then Ms. Rachel, you can also share your thoughts.
I mean, I think there's always a challenge, right? There's a lot of passionate young people who are doing similar things. And I think what you should look to is, are there opportunities for you to leverage the fact that many people are doing the same thing? And I think it goes back to what Rachel was saying about what is your why? Why are you doing what you're doing, and why do you care about it? And can you communicate that to someone? And if you are able to communicate your reasons for doing the things you're doing, I think that resonates with people. If they can see a passionate, committed person, but a person who also then has a plan. And I think, you know, you can't necessarily offload everything you want in one conversation. And so you really need to look at the same way you make friends, the same way you make connections, the same way you find, you know, conversations with your family. It's definitely not transactional. And I think often we feel pressured, and I think you should also allow yourself to relax. The work you're doing is meaningful. The work matters. And for those reasons, you are bound to find like-minded people. You are bound to find people who want to work and support you. And I think you know, as a generation, we're very fortunate. There are many organizations that want to support young people doing important work. And so I think you must remember, allow yourself to breathe when you are meeting these people. I think that's important. But Rachel, I'll hand over to you. Thanks.
Oh, thank you. I think what you said was just perfect. I think that I've always found that you catch more bees with honey, which means that you think when you're talking to potential funders or collaborators that you need to make sure that it's clear why you're better at whatever you're doing than everyone else who's doing it. But you catch more bees with honey by offering praise. So if you're doing work in the health space, you might say, I'm a big fan of Paul Farmer and his book and the work of Partners in Health. What we're doing is at a local level, we have such intimate knowledge of the community and the rituals and the behaviors that we can take models that they have used globally, but really make them more locally focused and have more success. And because of our insight. And so I think offering praise to other like-minded organizations means that you can even reach out to board members of organizations or supporters that are similar, that might also be working on mental health, or might also be working on access to, you know, meals and sustainable agriculture. And you say, I'm a big fan of their approach or what they've done in this country. We're trying to do something similar, but with a different twist. And so you offer not only what you're doing and your skill set, but some praise to some people who the other person might know of, be familiar with, recognize, or be a supporter of. And it demonstrates that you're iterating on a model and you're not starting from scratch and just a kid out there with a dream. So I always think that giving people that context is really helpful.
Thank you so much for your encouraging words. I really appreciate. I hope you answered. Yeah, I hope you answered.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Yes.
Before you mute yourself, Yashitha, please introduce yourself. Where are you from? Which university and where do you live?
I'm Yashita and I belong to India, and I'm working on SDG 3, that is good health and well-being. I've been doing some little bit of work that I consider and connecting with people on mental health issues and talking about it, why your mind matters, why is it important to talk about it and express yourself. So I've connected with some people through this network, and it's really a great opportunity for me to be here. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much. Next question. So this is what will happen in the subsequent questions. When I ask you to unmute yourself, kindly introduce yourself. Just tell us which university you're from together with the state. All right, so we have a question from McKenna Flynn, and I believe it was directed to Miss Rachel. Yeah. So Miss Rachel, networking helped you overcome barriers to women in the workplace, okay? So that's the first part of the question. Has networking helped you overcome barriers to women in the workplace? And what would you tell your younger self that you wish you had known at the beginning of your journey? All right?
Sure. So I'll start with the younger self. I think I would tell my younger self to be brave, because the world is looking for the answers you're building. All of you. The world is looking for the answers you're building. So don't doubt yourself. If you doubt yourself, you're inviting others to doubt you too. When we founded Nexus, I do not come from a billionaire family. My family is not the president or prime minister of a country. So I cold called with my co-founder the Forbes 500 list, and it was all the richest people in the world. And we said, hello, we're calling, we're gonna host an event for one member of each of the world's most influential families, and the next gen member. Please tell us your name and who you'd like to send in the next 2 weeks. And 350 people showed up. And if we had done that, 10 years earlier, who knows? Now we have 6,000 members. But we could have ever paused and said, who are we to do this work? We are community organizers. We are social entrepreneurs. But we were bold enough to ask. And if 10 people had showed up instead of 350, it would have been a success. Because the first thing that happened after 350 people showed up to say we're next gen and want to change the world is they said, this isn't enough people. There's not enough countries represented. And we said, you are literally the only people who responded. So now we need your help. And then they each invited 10 more people. And suddenly we grew because everyone wants to be on your team. So if you believe that the world needs the solution you're working for and everyone wants to be on your team, and you go in with those mindsets to every meeting and every call, you'll be much more likely to be successful than if you have a nervousness and a defeatist attitude. I think that's the most important. And for barriers for women in the workplace, I worked for an ambassador to the UN for human rights for 10 years who was a woman. She hit many more barriers for women than I did. So I think that I can feel in myself, in my own professional career, the world opening up to women more. When we worked at the UN with that ambassador, the High Commissioner for Human Rights was Mary Robinson, who is a woman who was the first female president of Ireland. So I feel like there are barriers to women in the workplace. However, we're the ones who are standing on the shoulders of the people who are really shaking up those glass ceilings. So it's our responsibility to continue to shake them up and to remember that there's barriers for short people in the workplace. There's barriers for people of all different races and religions in the workplace. We need to become the examples of why those barriers shouldn't exist. And we can witness them and we need to push through them.
Thank you so much. Don't doubt yourself, and the world needs you. All right, that's my take home. Thank you, Miss Rachel. I will also ask for Mr. Andrews and Obonyo's thoughts on this. Well, as for the second part of the question, I think I'll just repeat it. What would you tell your younger self that you wish you had known from the beginning of your journey? Okay.
Stacey, I think for me, it's really just, the sky's the limit, and then you need to go beyond that. So essentially, your commitment and your passion and your service, you need to keep going. The world needs you, as Rachel was saying, and now is the time to be doing it. So dream big and act big as well. Yes,
you've just reminded me of Mr. Raphael's mantra. I think that he goes by, and it's founded on 3 pillars. The first one being dream. Mr. Raphael, you can correct me, okay? So the first one is dream, then discipline and determination. Thank you so much. I feel empowered, and thank you for sharing your thoughts. All right, Mr. Raphael, please share your thoughts on the question as well.
Thank you so much. I think you got it right. I mean, I go by 3 Ds,
what would you tell your younger self on the things that you wish you had known from the beginning of your journey?
I think one of the things I would tell my younger self is I should never doubt my ideas. That's 1. 2, that I'm not inadequate in any way. And I shouldn't just look at what I lack. I should also look at what I have, and make the best out of it, maximize on whatever I have in terms of opportunities, in terms of resources, in terms of skills. And lastly is to pursue every opportunity with passion. I think for me that would be what I would tell my younger self.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Raphael. My name is Kenny from Team MCN. I think Stacey have 1 or 2 connections. It's great connecting with all of you. Yeah, great. It has been a fantastic one and a fantastic presentation all through the webinar. So we just want to hear a closing remark from each one of you. What is the takeaway? What is the take home do you want to tell the Millennium Fellows? We've spoken about your experience, their fantastic experience. I think as fellows, go on Twitter, you see some specific nuggets from the speakers, for you to just go over again. It's been fantastic. So I will start with Andrew. What do you have as take home to fellows as they proceed with their project and wanting to make meaningful change throughout the fellowship and subsequently in their years? Over to you, Andrew.
Thanks very much for that. I think, a lot has been said today, but I think there's a lot of encouragement. And I think all of you need to keep committed to wanting to change the world. This vision that you have, many people might think it's crazy, but all of you have commitment, passion, talent, skill. And as long as you build on those values and pull people along with you and build networks, it's an amount that is immeasurable. It's not just transactional, but building those networks is what's going to see you through to the finish line. And just my very best wishes to all of you as Millennium Fellows. And again, to MCN and the United Nations Academic Impact, thank you very much. And I wish you all the very best.
Yeah, thank you, Andrew. It's really fantastic having you join us today. Hi, Rachel. I think you want to tell us your take home to fellows. I particularly am excited. Over to you.
Thank you all so much. This has been such a joy to start my morning. I'm sure some of you it's evening and afternoon, but to feel globally connected to people who want to truly change the world and are working on that with the SDGs. You fellows inspire me. Mwah! Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for the energy, Rachel. We are very much excited to connect with you, and we hope to have you many more times in future webinars. And Raphael, you've been fantastic thus far. One of your words is when you have a seat at the table, bring the words out of it. So it's fantastic. I took that personally. So what do you have as take home to fellows? Over to you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kenny. I greatly appreciate this opportunity, interacting with all the fellows. Just to remind us that being young does not make you inadequate. You are powerful beyond measure. You're the change that the world is looking for. Don't just look at yourself as a problem or people with a problem. Also see yourself as people with solutions. And the world is waiting for the solutions that you will provide to deal with the challenges that we've inherited, challenges that we have, the challenges that will also come. So please take charge and make your contribution, and the world will be a better place because you took action. And change does not wait for the next person or another person. You are the change that we are looking for. Thank you so much, and all the very best.
Yeah, thank you so much, Raphael. That was fantastic. As Millennium Fellows, we are the change we are looking for, and we're really excited, to work through this semester. 1,400 plus fellows across 20 nations. It's a powerful network working towards the SDGs, and certainly so many changes are coming from here. I don't know, Stacey, are you back? Do you have any final remark? You did great all through. I hope we have you now.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, sure, definitely. Yeah, you can go ahead.
Awesome. Okay, so I'm sorry I dropped off. Anyway, my screen is frozen at the moment, so all of you look frozen. But all I want to say is thank you very much, everyone, starting from the panelists for making time to join us this evening. I feel empowered. I feel ready to even pursue my project further. And thank you so much for the powerful encouragements and for sharing your journeys as well. To the fellows, guys, the work isn't done. I encourage all of us to keep up with the same spirit. Let's be the positive force for good, okay? I encourage all of us to keep working on our projects and also keep networking among us. Lastly, a big thank you goes to the MCN team for letting me serve in this capacity. I truly appreciate, and for also helping me facilitate this meeting. Before winding up, I'd like to invite all of us to next week's seminar, which Sam will take us through. It'll happen on Thursday. The time will be confirmed via email, but I hope the attendance will be like today's or even better. So please do make time to attend next week's seminar. I think that's it for me. Thank you so much, and yeah, have a lovely day.
Yeah, thank you, Stacey. Just before we round up our speakers, I'm sure fellows are excited about these questions. Can you just tell us the best way fellows can connect with you moving forward? Just in 30 seconds, a minute each.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks, Kenny. I mean, the easiest probably is to track me down on LinkedIn. Some of the fellows have already done so. So you're welcome to reach out there. And then just keep on dreaming. Thank you. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much for that.
Thanks so much. For me, I think I'm on a number of social media platforms, but largely Facebook, Raphael Obonyo, LinkedIn, Raphael Obonyo. And I try to respond to as many messages as I can whenever people reach out. And just to encourage you to keep networking. You need to stand on other people's shoulders. You need to connect with other people to tap on their resources for you to make progress and grow. So utilize this very powerful tool that we have, networking, and you guys are already doing it. So keep doing it and keep doing what you're doing. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. And also for Rachel, Rachel is on Twitter at Rachel Gerrol. I can see Sam sharing that on the chat box. You can connect with her. It's a fantastic one. Yeah, we are looking forward to having you next week with some Vanguard, the executive director. I learned a lot, particularly from Sam, and all of you can join in next week to this fantastic seminar. Have a great day, everyone. Goodbye.
Awesome. Bye.